assassin and not like a how do you explain a religious assassin, I guess? If that is what you would consider him. But cool story. It was not as impressive as I was hoping for. Um he's not as bad as Xenomorph because he's human and I like his character. I think I'm gonna put him in this one. Run for your lives. I think that's where he belongs. Guys, I just gotta say, it's been an hour and a half and I ain't even made it through half. Just now at about half of the legendary characters that we have on this account. That is crazy. Alice should be an easy one. I know. I don't particularly care for how Alice plays. She was one of my first few characters as well. I don't like her. I like her well enough for the character. I mean, I'm a big Alice in Wonderland fan. I don't like that she's got black hair and not blonde. I think Alice in Wonderland has blonde hair. I do like the nods to the movies. The drink me potion, the clock, the cards. He's creepy as fuck. I don't like him. And then she's got the eat me. I do like her design, technically. I just don't like her. As for the lore, she's another sacred order, so she's in the same faction as these two. Say you didn't know how that would end. Look me in the eyes and tell me, Captain. Okay. Let's see how she plays into it. Okay. Alice was thrust into the care of the Sacred Order in her early teens, one of several daughters from a poor, minor, noble family with no heir apparent. Alice's parents sent her away to avoid having to find her a husband, and then a dowry to pay him with. Incapable of affording the attention of quality suitors, they saw the Order as a place where Alice would be safe, as well as away from the sons of lesser families. Though it was a decision they made out of care, Alice resented them. Her faith in Lamaya was strong, but she had no particular love for the Order. Once there, her strong character, independent mind, and curiosity gave her a rebellious streak, and she was frequently disciplined for refusing to obey instructions and asking questions out of turn. Alice's only solace in the Order was the Eternal Citadel's many libraries and her fighting lessons. The first sated and grew her desire to learn more of the world. Her combat training sweated out her anger and prepared her for all the exciting dangers of Teleria, when she would one day be able to venture out and experience them. One of the many places Alice learned about was Durham Forest, huge, impenetrable, full of monsters and predators, bizarre and ferocious. It was a land of wonders to her. She longed to see it. What was the best way to see the world? How best to use her talents? How best to live a fulfilling life? These were questions Alice asked herself every day. A life tied to churches and chapels would bore her. The discipline and regimens of being a soldier would restrict her. She wanted to travel, learn, investigate. She chose to be an inquisitor. This decision changed her life in ways she never anticipated. It set her on a path of hunting the Queen of Hearts, a night revenant she hadn't heard of at the time. It began with Alice interrogating the Clethy cultist with a red heart tattoo on the palm of his hand. His cryptic answers to her question led her to books, which led her to cultists who led her to more books. She dug deeper when she read familiar family and place names and histories of obscure Karak nobility, of incidents of murder and exile and family trees and crumbling tomes, heavy with dust and forgotten spider-infested manors and archives. Alice cried tears of rage when finally the connections came together. The Queen of Hearts was once going to be the Queen of Karak, but was spurned days before her wedding to the then Prince Regent. She had her hand in the destruction or ruination of many of her would-be husband's descendants, as well as family members of his queen. One of those families was Alice's, ultimately cast out of the court and stripped of swaths of their ancestral lands. Alice committed herself to destroying the Queen of Hearts that day, and over several years devoted herself to rooting out Clethy cultists and their night revenant masters. She burned nest after nest of them and kept hangmen and employment all over Karak, but her crimson quarry eluded her. That was until she captured the White Rabbit, a foul-mouthed, crude demon spawn who served the Queen of Hearts for reasons known only to himself. Alice suspected it was purely out of selfishness. He proved her right after an embarrassingly short interrogation in which the leopard demon spawn bit and kicked, swore and spat and defected. He revealed that the queen was in the midst of carrying out a new plan to take the crown of Karak. She had been denied so many years before. She was heading into Durham Forest to ally with or steal from the insect lords who lived at its heart. Alice's heart pounded with excitement. Finally, she had never lost her fascination with the forest, or her longing to go there. Now was her chance. Knowing through her work to bring down the Queen of Hearts that Durham Forest had played a vital role in the Cult of Cleth's dark origin tale, made delving into its shadowed depths even more enticing. Alice had no idea what to expect, and that only made the adventure even more exciting. Durham lay but a few weeks' march to the north, and she set off at once, her fluffy, long-eared prisoner strapped to her back. I don't like it. I don't like that one. I do like her design, but I don't like her story. I think she goes in C. I think I like her right there. Titus! I like Titus. I like the colors. This teal and black look is really nice. Teal and silver, teal and black, whatever you want to consider it. The headpiece is cool, although I don't know what it means yet. He's kind of got a Hermes look going with the feathers. Hiding away where only I can undress her. Yeah, I like his design quite a bit. The teal is very striking. Once I apply all the pressure. Okay. He's a banner lord. I think that's the first we've seen of those so far. Okay. Little remains of Androck the Glorious legacy. His name is all but forgotten. That is not the case for many of his comrades and friends, the closest of whom were the Knights of the Wild, skilled warriors, counselors, and commanders who followed Androck into every battle. Their collective name was drawn from the various beasts and birds which formed the core of each's heraldry and symbols: a bear, a wolf, a eagle, a snake, a stallion, a raven. A raven, that was the symbol of Titus Blackplume. In the stories that tell of Titus today, no man bar Aeslin, the stalwart himself, was a greater defender of the free cities and the land that became Karak. Tough, fair, steadfast, loyal, beloved, the dashing noble every courtly lady wished for herself, and every man admired, even if envy held them in its green grasp. Titus is said to have killed 10 bears with his bare hands in a single fight, lifted a prize bull above his head, and swam the Valdemar Strait a dozen times without rest. He was an advocate for freedom and a bringer of incredible prosperity. Winter never came to his lands, and the rains were neither too hard nor too light. The truth is somewhat different. Titus was as taciturn as he was low in humor. He was not a friend to many of the Knights of the Wild. He naysayed many strategies and tactics that proposed and offered little praise for their triumphs. None could deny Titus's loyalty to Androck. However, there were few the Glorious listened to more closely than he. His words were few, but considered and wise. It certainly helped that he clearly lacked any ambition to lead more than his seat's own soldiery. All Knights of the Wild agreed that among their number no one was less corruptible than Titus. He took no ale or wine, never played dice or drew cards. Acting on the impulses of gluttony or lust disgusted him, and a withering look from his dark gray eyes stopped many a young knight from indulging in their vices. He lived an ascetic life, on campaign, eating and sleeping as a common soldier would, spending his days foraging, hunting, or training with them. By candlelight, he studied past wars of treatises on swordplay. When others asked Androck about Titus, the Glorious was quiet, quite clear. The Black Plume was a simple man. He despised politics and the forces of darkness and cared for little more than his duty to his people and lord. He preferred life that way. Titus may have had few friends, but he drew quiet admiration, and all could trust his word. If a knight of the wild was expected to hold ground until the right moment, when Titus would lead an ambushing force into an unsuspecting foe's rear, they knew he would come. If it was Titus who was ordered to hold the line instead, all knew he would stand firm without complaint. Androc the Glorious's death wounded Titus far more than he ever revealed. Though he had never aspired to lead, others looked to him, his stoic manner giving him an image of strength that even the knights of the wild clung to in such a devastating moment. It pained him, but he accepted the burden. Though the Second Great War would only rage for a matter of months after Androc fell, no one knew this. Titus drove the knights of the wild and their army hard, and the Black Plume held to his personal discipline more strongly than ever, desperate to control what he could after such a terrible personal loss. Victories followed, as demon-spawn hordes dissolved into splintered bands. Titus prosecuted a counter-guerrilla war that saved countless villages from being ransacked. His forces secured roads, liberated thousands of captives seized by the demon-spawn, and rested the great sanctuary of Golden Light, a magnificent chapel dedicated to Lamaya lost early in the war, from demon-spawn control. Titus also led his army in one of the final pitched clashes of the Second Great War, the Battle of Purged Field. The Black Plume took more than 40 demon-spawn heads that day. Titus spent the rest of his days battling demon-spawn holdouts and survivors, rooting out their mortal servants who remained, and destroying nests of undead. It was dangerous, unglorious work, but something about his implacability and his uncomplaining nature took root in a tale and song. The legend of the Black Plume was well and truly born, about the man most likely to shake his head at such a thing. I like him. Don't be changing shit. Oh, fuck. Much longer we can stop. They're getting impatient. Dangerous too. Yeah, I like him. Let's see. Where does he belong? I think I'm gonna put him up there with Arter. I really like his design. The teal is very striking. And his story was pretty good. Who is this? Rorik. Wormbane. I tell you. He reminds me of a certain character from a certain show. Honestly, he's like very striking resemblance. He reminds me of Game of Thrones. 20 years, we still have no king. Yeah, he reminds me very much of Game of Thrones, and, fuck is his name? Yo, why can't I think of his name? One moment, I'll find it. The fact that he is so down. Clegane. Sandor Clegane. What the hell? Why is it not got his real friggin'... Ugh! The Hound. There it is. The Hound is who I'm thinking of. But I do like the design. I'm also now going to be blinded by the fact that he looks like the Hound. He's a barbarian. I really need a charger. My phone's dying. Might be your last one too. You'll have run out of bones to break. Is this not gonna work? That fucking sucks. Guys, I may have to take a brief pause because you are on my phone. Aha! The fuck was that? Don't allow. Don't be changing shit. Don't be changing shit. Stop it. Stop! Quit. Okay. No, it's fight or fly, little boy, fly, all because you had. Ugh. Okay. goodness. He's a barbarian.